Who's got it better than us?
Nobody!
Herbert is being chased, thrown on the run, and it is caught. Touchdown, Keenan Allen. What a great...
My goal is not to break you. My goal is to make you harder to break.
Comes back, number 6.
Huge sack by Joey Bosa.
Touchdown! 90-yard touchdown!
Off at the 8-yard line by Derwin James. Sets his speed, takes a shot downfield, has Knighton. Caught! Touchdown! Chargers!
Boys, grab your lunch boxes and go attack this game with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
Well. Forget about pissing in my pocket and telling me it's raining. The urinal uniform brigade rocked up to SoFi and got absolutely trounced. My lord. And yes, ladies and gentlemen and people of the TDU crew, that is not Andy's voice you hear. That is obviously Jack. I'm back. Andy unfortunately had some last minute health issues. Probably good on him because this was a tough game, Al. Welcome back to another episode of Thunder Down Under Chargers podcast. As always, please like and subscribe for more toilet-related humour where you can. So Steichen came in and laid a stoogie in SoFi and went, hey, suck it, boys. Man, I think I'm in love with him. I think I'm in love with the Colts too, actually, a little bit. A sneaky football crush on them, mate.
Yeah, they're a very likable team, and there's the Chargers connection with Steichen, but they just play good football in an attractive way. As you did that lovely intro, I was thinking of I can't remember who said it. Look good, play good, feel good. Look good, play good. It's look like piss, play like piss. Look like piss, play like piss. Yeah. The Chargers canary yellows. I wasn't a big fan. It didn't work out well. Listeners. Don't worry, the three of us are going to be back on a show soon. It's not the Beatles breaking up. It's just been very unlucky things striking at the last minute. We hope to have Andy back for the next show. But yeah, Jack. So where do you want to start on this game? Colts come to SoFi, important game for both sides to win, and it wasn't really very close, was it?
No. And injuries aside, I think we'll talk about those later, but it was just an efficient football team that came into SoFi, and that was not the Chargers. It was the Colts. Man, all three phases, special teams, defense, offense. Talk about how to build a team. The Philly Eagles have always been the archetype, build from the trenches and out. I tell you what, who's the owner's daughter who's now on the sideline calling plays? Because whatever she's doing, keep her there, boys. Keep her there. That offensive line that Daniel Jones has to throw behind is the best in football by a long way. And I was very jealous because I don't think even at full strength that the Chargers offensive line would be anywhere near the Colts either. So yeah, the first thing that I want to start off is just like, that's what an efficient team looks like. The Indianapolis Colts are efficient. Efficiency not only wins games, it puts 38 points up. It goes 3 unanswered touchdowns. They never, ever looked like losing the game.
They are Jim Harbaugh's wet dream. I mean, they're what we want to be on offense, right? The 5 offensive linemen are all homegrown talent. They're all draft picks. And don't forget, last year in the offseason, they let 2 guys go. They let their stalwart center, Ryan Kelly, go, and they said, we drafted your replacement last year, Tanner Bordellini, on day 3. He can step up.
Amazing.
And they let Will Fries go. He gets a big contract from the Vikings. In goes Matt Goncalves at right guard. He was a 3rd-round rookie from that draft. And then, of course, they've got
Bernard Ryman.
We liked Ryman coming out, Jack. He's now
amazing.
He's a top 8 left tackle in the NFL at a minimum.
Incredible.
Quentin Nelson's back to being the best guard in the league. Braden Smith's a great right tackle. And this game's over when in the first quarter, it's 140 yards to 24 yards. It's 31 plays to 12 plays. It's 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns for the Colts. And 4th and Steichen. Forget Staley. They knew they had us. That was reminiscent of the Lions when they came in, Ben Johnson on Staley.
Absolutely.
They're like, 4th and 1, we'll go for it at our own 39. 4th and 1, we'll go for it. We were powerless to stop it.
Steichen was getting hot too. Even at the last stages of the game when they were stopping us on defense, he was going, great job, great job. He was fiery, man. I mean, yeah, but you're right in terms of a Harbaugh or a Roman wet dream. Per PFF, the Colts EPA on rushing plays was plus 0.4. That is the 100th percentile. You are saying that is the best in the league. And the Chargers EPA was 0.03 plus, which is in the 83rd percentile. They ran more than us. Unbelievably, we only ran 16 times a game. We'll talk about Herbert's game later. 120 yards to 54, 5.2 yards per rush versus 3.4. They just got better push on the line. They finished runs stronger, 3 yards after contact versus out around 2 from memory. Huge chunk plays. Just dominated, which obviously left Daniel Jones to do what he's been doing all season, and Steichen has just put him in this position. He's got an arm, and he's making really great decisions, really good decisions, actually. And it just goes to show that Steichen, obviously his time with the Chargers, went to Philly from memory. I think he was the Super Bowl coordinator there as well, and doing a fantastic job in an organization that is sometimes a little bit in the off-season, a little bit unpredictable with Irsay as the owner. Now he's gone, but they're playing ball, man. And Jonathan Taylor, God, what a game as well. He's sort of come back from his serious injury 18 or so months ago. But yeah, gosh, listen, I do you feel like 38-24 is like an actual proper score, or do you think it's sort of more 38-17, 38-14? Was it that close, even though 24-38 is not close?
They took that 3-score lead right into the last quarter, and then we're in pass every down mode. Their defense is in prevent defense mode, milk the clock. So the game was out of hand at halftime with the score being 23-3. But I want to lead us somewhere that I think naturally comes up at this stage, which is a challenging factor. The Colts were dominant, but I thought this was the one real stinker of a performance by Jesse Minter's defense from a strategic perspective. And I went through the coach's film this morning, mate, and I decided to mark every run the Colts had and just check for two things. How many of those runs were we in a 2 high shell, so 2 deep safeties at least, and only 4 on the line of scrimmage, 4 defensive linemen, which is our preferred thing, right? And on drive 1, it was 100% of run calls. We were in that kind of a structure defensively. And in the first half, it was 6 out of 9 run calls. So 2/3 of the time. To me, you have not adjusted how you play to suit your opponent. To me, Minter came into this game saying, we're going to start by stopping the explosive passes. We know you guys are good at everything. We don't want to lose quickly. So we're going to trust that we can hold up in run defense with 2 deep safeties, the corners off the line, and only 4 guys on the line of scrimmage. No.
Yeah. Flat out, right? I mean, it kind of felt like, that Jesse Minter just played to the script that Steichen exactly wanted. That what Steichen did is they're obviously looking at players like Tyler Warren on those little screen and boot and like little wheel routes. And then you've got Alec Pierce over the top. But Josh Downs wasn't even playing right. Pierce over the top to really test the 2 deep safety. And then you just go, thank you very much. Jonathan Taylor runs downhill. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because if you guard deep, we'll go to Tyler Warren. We'll go to Pittman. If you got a light box, we'll just run it on you. If you drop a safety into run protection, we'll just beat you with Alec Pierce. Like the Colts,
that's true. They're very robust. They're very well rounded, right? They're going to hurt you some way.
But when you look at their wide receiver room and their tight end room, like there's no staples, there's no Justin Jeffersons and things like that. But man, they are well rounded. And I remember saying, I said Alec Pierce, I reckon, has got one big shot in him against us this game, and so he did. So, but you think that even with a well-rounded receiving unit and just an incredible offense, you still think Minter really struggled?
What annoyed me is it feels like he's playing to the wrong personnel, right? we don't have Poona Ford anymore. Tito came out of this game. So you kept on seeing, listeners, the Colts offensive linemen up to the second level, up to the linebackers. That's because Justin Aboigbe, much as he is improving as a player, he might be okay one-on-one against a Dolphins offensive lineman. He is not going to hold up to double teams against the Colts, man. So I just thought... Yes, there's some injury, right? Perryman's come back from a long time off. Because Molden's in a cast, Derwin is playing. He played the most free safety he has in any game all year. He played 17 snaps back there. The most he'd played in a game this year was 7. So there are some personnel things too. But look, if it was me, and I'm not an NFL defensive coordinator, so take it for what it's worth, I would have started this game by saying, we're stopping Jonathan Taylor. In the line of scrimmage, we're going to be aggressive blitzing and have 8 in the box. I actually think we've got some very good cover corners generally anyway in St. Just and Dante Jackson. I'm going to give them some one-on-one and see if they can beat us deep over the back of the defense.
Yeah, that was strange. And also, let Daniel Jones beat you. Don't let scheme beat you. Don't let Daniel Jones, we've had years of Daniel Jones at the Giants as a streaky, mobile quarterback. And as I said earlier, credit to Steichen for building that line in front of him and giving him relatively easy answers in the passing game. But you're right. So perhaps there are some sneaky injuries on defense that are perhaps not as grandiose and as glaring upon first look as the offense, but some of those sneaky injuries and maybe Poona leaving as well, just starting to catch up with the way this
Mac
team is
only
built.
played 12 snaps. Odafe always been here for 1 week. It felt like the Colts just got us at the right time to me. They're humming, no injuries, same play caller, RB1, same quarterback, great offensive line. We feel like we've got a bit of a patchwork quilt, and we're just hoping that in 5 or 6 weeks' time we're looking more consistent and healthier.
Yeah. Do you have anything else challenging? Well, we've talked a lot about the defense, which is great, first off, because we normally talk about the offense. Challenging from the offense. Is there much to be negative about? Because there's obviously, this is a 2-sided coin. 3 points up to halftime, the game was over. Yet Herbert goes to have his best passing day ever. Yes, he threw 2 picks, and I'm going to go out there and say that the second pick definitely was on him. That was one of the worst throws I've seen from him in a while. I'm also going to put the first one on him too. I know a lot of people have said, "Oh, it's not his fault." He was trying to do a little bit too much, maybe, and I think he kind of invited it a little bit. So, but I mean, he was doing everything he could to bring his team back. But those interceptions were just killers. Just absolute momentum killers. What did you see offensively?
Look,
Challenging.
I thought...
Challenging before we get to the good stuff.
My read off the broadcast when I did, imbibed a couple of beers was, we really struggled first half, and Roman, that's when the game mattered, and then we got all this junk time yardage. Bit harsh. When I watched the coaches film, I didn't have the same view. In that first half, a lot of the things that killed the drives were not really Greg Roman related to me, right? A couple of them were unfortunate. Unfortunately, again, we've got to say penalties. We've got Mekhi Becton playing really poorly, allowing early pressures, false start on 3rd and 1 in the red zone, Zion holding on 3rd and 6. Cool, we take the field goal. So those first 3 trips to the red zone, we're actually moving the ball quite well. And then each time just something, some of it was Herbert, right? He had 3 or 4 uncharacteristic misses in this game, just behind Ladd, just behind Keenan, just behind QJ in the red area. So look, did we run the ball effectively early? No, but we've got the personnel issues affecting us on the offensive side of the ball pretty heavily. The one challenging thing, though, Jack, I'll get you to speak to it, is just this offensive line, right? Herbert, again, he's been pressured 44.3% of his dropbacks. He has now been hit 62 times this season. That is the most in the NFL. And he's the only other quarterback, other than Cam Ward, that's been hit more than 44 times. He's at 62. What do we do about this fiasco up front?
I think I've got multiple things I'd like to say to that. Firstly, who would have thought sitting, 4-3 that would say Greg Roman has been the best coordinator at the Chargers because Ficken Fucken Fiken and Minter Shinter Splinter is struggling a little bit. So you're right. I sort of on second watch, I watched the full broadcast. Then earlier today, I had a bit of time to watch the game in 40. Offensively, it seems to be that Roman is doing okay. I mean, we'll talk about Gadsden and Keenan Allen. The hitting of Justin Herbert. I think we've got to have a conversation that Justin Herbert possibly invites a lot of those hits on himself. You could argue that for a lot of the time, he's just waiting, holding on a little bit, holding on a little bit, holding on a little bit, and throwing. A Brady, an Aaron Rodgers, someone like that are going 1, 2, pocket collapsing, throw away, I think. So I think there's an element of Justin Herbert trying to do too much. On the other hand, we've got a patchwork offensive line. The fatal flaw, this is what this episode is titled, I guess, is the fact that Justin Herbert is trying to do so much because of the offensive line in front of him. Now, the play action was one of the lowest, I think this year, 17%. So Herbert was standing in the pocket, seeing the pressure, eyes forward, knowing what's coming to him. And he had bar those 2 interceptions, he was slinging the ball. So, I mean, you're hoping that Mekhi Becton as a top free agent signing would be a stalwart on the line. He has his worst game and is really struggling to even stay on the field, I think. And then, Deculus goes out. I mean, like, even mid-game, Herbert's going, like, after 10 snaps, he's like, okay, the offensive line
He's actually
is different
introducing himself to the offensive linemen,
right.
shaking their hands.
It is just, I can't remember a season like it, actually. So for him to throw near 500 yards is pretty incredible. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What say you? I just don't know. Like, I just don't know what to do.
Look, I'm glad you raised that because what I will say is still a scheme shortcoming from Roman. You look at Daniel Jones and Steichen, how schemed open are some of these dudes off Y leak, right? All of a sudden, Tyler Warren, the guys are actually wide open. I know you said Herbert's got to get rid of the ball and not get hit. At least 7 or 8 of those completions, watching it on the coach's film today, I was just like, whoa, man.
Yeah.
Like when Herbert drops back, no one is open. And the only reason why we've got a 27-yard pass off is because Herbert's run around, rolled right. Suddenly someone's got open and he's chucked it in the honey hole to, Quentin Johnston. I thought, okay, a lot of this is Herbert just working absolute magic like a maestro. If he did the Tom Brady and just stirred at the ball, we wouldn't have scored 24 points in this game, that's for sure. There'd be a lot of, we'd see a lot more of J.K. Scott. One thing I wanted to quickly mention, man, one thing that isn't scheme related that's now starting to really piss me off, I thought the overall Chargers' energy on offense sucked in the first half.
Yeah,
I'm talking as simple as a play call comes in, Herbert relays the play call, clap, walk to the line with purpose. I'm not seeing any of that. I'm seeing I almost just left.
This is very Jack Reed. This is very Jack Reed right now.
But I noticed that. I'm looking at the Colts.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Colts. They're walking up with a purpose and they've got full confidence in what's going to happen. You look at the Chargers, Becton's thinking about, how
pizza.
Yeah. It is suboptimal for any kind of team who even dares to think they're going to be relevant in the playoffs. It looks like a team that's like a non-playoff team to me. And then they claw points back and things look better. Successful second half, great. But you can fix that. And frankly, Jack, I'm surprised that that's happening with a Jim Harbaugh-led football team.
Yeah, but I mean, even Jim Harbaugh in his press conferences is cutting a fairly gaunt figure as well, even though, we're used to him not saying much at all. But you do wonder how mentally challenging it is when you've got guys, as you mentioned before, you're introducing yourself to the first time, you're going, oh, it's just like, really, again? So, does that actually equate to poor play? Your body language walking in, or is it just like, I've got to grit my teeth here, this sucks, I've just got to go through and do it? Would Tom Brady be able to? I don't know, because there's this, Harbaugh is known as a player's player, not too negative, doesn't want to call people out too much. We don't know what happens behind the scenes. We've seen Justin Herbert this year get a little more frustrated in things as he was last year. But I think what epitomized it for me, and maybe this is the counter to your point, is that Austin Deculus got called for an illegal man downfield because he literally just sort of, finishes and he just walks forward. He just takes a couple of steps. Boop, the play's called dead, and you're like, but that's what you get when you have guys off the street. And the way
you haven't played enough NFL to know the rules of the sport.
You're just going, I'm just going to go for a walk down the field now. But I mentioned it. We were talking about it before you shared some tape. Just the difference in the body types. You had what's his name, Latu, going against Austin Deculus, and it's first round bodies and athletes versus guys off the street. You're just not going to win. Like, I'm
Buckner
sorry.
kicked our ass in this game.
What do you have? 12 pressures?
He was unblockable, that guy.
Yeah. Just so I just don't think this team's going to go far with the injuries on the offensive line. I'm going to call that.
Question on that. All right.
I'm going to call that now.
Let me set you up. So
yeah.
Before I do, I did want to just say, because this is a little controversial too, Jim Harbaugh's post-game presser was almost the most annoyed I've been ever by a Chargers coach's presser. That includes Staley when he was losing it with reporters. That includes McCoy. That includes Lynn. What bothered me is Popper said, very open-ended, what did you see from the defense today? Courage, fight, our guys never quit. And Popper was bemused. Popper was like, so you're saying there's no problem, is everything okay? And he basically doubled down. He said, look, nobody was perfect on all three phases, but it's only a few things here or there. I think that's not right. I think when your team has given up 40 points on defense, you do at least need to make a statement, right, publicly, that was not a good enough performance to allow 38 points on defense. We're obviously disappointed in that. I thought he took that too far in the I won't say anything critical of my players direction, to the point where it just sounded ludicrous. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Jump in.
But is this where the moments as a coach you are tested as a person? Your will is tested, and they push you to the point where, are you going to change your tune because of the frustration? Now listen, I'm not defending Harbaugh. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I'm with you.
And it's like, you know what? No matter how bad it gets from our coach, like, the players are obviously walking up and going, Derwin James wasn't happy. You listen to any of the guys.
Popper asked Derwin the same question, and he simply said, we played like shit. That was his quote.
But that's fine coming from a player. That's fine. And so Mint is sitting there as well going, far out. Like, do you double down and say, the coach is lambasting me, or I go, I know what I'm going to get from Harbaugh. He's going to defend me, but he's publicly, but privately, he's probably going to be asking some questions. So I'm just playing devil's advocate there. And
I'm generally on your side. I still think there's a way he can answer that without seeming dishonest. I still think he could have said, look, we all needed to be better today. We don't want to be allowing opposition to score 38 points, and we made too many mistakes, and I've got to do a better job coaching this football team.
But how much different is that from what he says? And he probably just goes into press conference mode because he's tired, he's senile, and just goes, yeah, courage, it's okay. People did pick up on Twitter. They were like, he's in a corner here. What can he say? So I don't know. But you're right. And even in the press conference.
Well, does he today, not think there's a problem? It allows people to suddenly question, do you get it? Like, if you're not seeing any issue here, that itself is an issue. And maybe he wants the criticism on him rather than the team. I don't know. But that's what I feel like you open yourself up to.
Yeah, but he's a winner. Like, you can't say, if this was a first year coach, he's like, he's got no, everywhere he goes, he wins. He wants to win. His dad instilled winning in him. His whole family is about winning and being the best. We want to make a name for ourselves. We want to meet 7 presidents, shake their hands. I guarantee you, he's not going home after 38 points to be like, yeah, no, we're fine. I just think I will defend Harbaugh there.
Okay, he's being presidential. All right, now let me ask you, you're about to say about the Chargers' current presently constructed roster. Look, as presently constructed, can this team compete for a Super Bowl? We've got a trade deadline coming up. Is it possible? Do you give up on the season? Do you bring in a running back? Do you try and get some help in there? What are you doing?
I've been tossing and turning over this. Breece Hall would be lovely. You're never, ever going to find a starting offensive lineman mid-year. It's never happened before. We looked at some of the data, and I think it's happened twice since 2018 that a starter has been traded. So
there were guys coming back from injury or something from memory. It was
exactly,
like Dwayne Brown and one other dude.
And Cam Robinson, I'm fairly sure. I think it was Cam Robinson at the Jags or something like that. So no, I just don't think the way that this team is constructed, mainly around the offensive line, you'd hope that Bradley Bozeman would have been better. You'd hope that Mekhi Becton would have been better. You're missing two starting tackles, one backup tackle. I just don't think the guys are going to come in. And I'll call it, I think, listen, we could limp into the playoffs, but after Alt comes back, I still don't think we're good enough. I just don't think with with losing Najee Harris as well. I just think there's been too many injuries to compete for a Super Bowl, unfortunately. And I don't know what Andre James has, whether he rubbed Greg Roman's belly wrong or something, but I don't know why he hasn't even seen the field. So
yes.
What do you think? Do you think the way this team constructed can win a Super Bowl?
No. But I think it is a week-to-week league, and
okay, Harbaugh. That's exactly what he said today. Come on, you're ripping him down now. You're using his bloody adages. Come on, buddy.
Using his material. The thing is, I do believe that the return of Alt and the return of Mac in form, if we do get healthier, it's still at its core the same team that started the season 3-0. That all of the two season-ending IR injuries occurred before week 1 against the Chiefs. Am I right in saying that?
No, Najee Harris.
Did Najee hurt himself against the Raiders?
Week 3, yeah.
Okay.
Week 2, week 3, yeah.
All right. So, but they've also brought in Owe, and maybe they'll bring in a back. So, if they continue to play as they are right now, having Deculus at left tackle and all the issues in the interior, and Becton just is having one of those years where through, form or injury or a combination of both, it's not happening. Yeah, we're easy pickings. We might not even make the playoffs, but I haven't given up hope yet, and I don't want our listeners to either, or there's no point listening to these shows. So what is some causes for optimism then, Jack? Maybe before we finish off our game recap, what are some things from this game that made you feel warm and gooey and fuzzy and squishy?
Well, we have been crying out. I think ever since Hunter Henry left, we thought, remember when Hunter Henry was drafted and he had a couple of really good years? We're like, he's the replacement for Gates. And, he's pretty handy at New England. But it's been a very long time since we've had a tight end that was able to move the way that Gadsden does. And he put up 164 yards on 7 receptions. The man has hands the size of dinner plates, and he can move. And he shows a little bit of wiggle to get open. That route he caught was almost a triple move. In, out, and around. And I just went, whoa.
And Yak on that play too.
And Yak, yeah, the man can move. So he is, I can't remember ever the Chargers ever having that Evan Ingram, dare I say, kind of tight end, that the sort of the more Y tight end, the pass catching tight end. So, mate, that's exciting. 164 yards. That's exciting. What say you?
Well, I was a bit cheeky and started to, post the stats, the all-time stuff, right? Third most all-time by a Chargers tight end, and he's over 160. Kellen Winslow, freak, did a one-time only in 1980. He had 171 yards. Gates did it once against the Browns. He had 167 yards. Maybe Winslow, we didn't watch that era of Chargers football. I've watched a full YouTube telecast of the Miracle in Miami game. Once, and that is Fouts thrown to Winslow, who's going sick. And maybe that's the last time the Chargers had one of these joker tight ends who can actually stretch the seam, and they're not posting you up like Gates and just operating within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. But geez, it was exciting. And that's the sort of thing that can give you confidence that if we've got the right play caller, whether that's Roman or somebody else, or might be Daniel or whoever else ends up being the OC, give us a vape puff, Jack, quick. They're guys you're going to build around in the future. And when you can see Trey Harris come in and start to look like, hey, he's got good hands as well. And you hear rave reviews about, he just doesn't have tickets on himself and he just gets a bit better every day. And you look at Ladd McConkey, who's still only a second-year player. And you look at Omarion Hampton, who's looked terrific in his first few games as a Charger. There's a lot of cause to think that this team is being built the right way. They're just having one of those years where everyone and their mothers are hurt.
Well, one of my questions to you, actually, you touched on it naturally, is it time to perhaps have a referendum or a question time on how this team has been built? But you took literally the words, not that we compared notes, but the way that you're looking at this offensive arsenal that's going to be sort of coming into its own in the next 2 to 3 years, 18 to 24 months. You're probably not looking at adding any more skill position players on offense. If Gadsden works out, you probably sort of shore up the tight end room with some journeymen. You probably want to start attacking offensive line a little more, and you're probably starting to attack the defense. So it's exciting. It's exciting. And I guess the one thing, there's sort of to each cloud, there's a silver lining. You talk about Ladd McConkey only in his second year, but perhaps there's also a lead lining, is that Keenan Allen seems to be chewing up a lot of targets, and Keenan Allen went for another 110 yards. Third and Keenan, he's always there. Justin Herbert likes to look to him. And I was just looking at next gen stats, and it seems that he has kind of locked down that right-hand side of the field. A majority of his routes are coming from the right-hand side. Ladd McConkey is playing almost primarily on that left, just looking at some of the routes. They do that mapping, you can see. So whether Ladd has just taken a step back, or it's Keenan Allen and there's a relationship that Justin Herbert has with him, I don't know. So, I don't know with that one. You're kind of hoping that
you've got to sit with it, right? You've got to decide. I mean, Ladd hasn't looked quite himself to me this year. Like, I thought Kenny Moore did a pretty good job with him in the slot. He's come up against some good slot corners. Minka the other week, who at times have had him covered. Just bullied him. Yeah, but he says he's feeling better than he did last year. I still think the yardage and the lack of targets is more about all these mouths to feed. And like you said, Herbert loves going to Keenan on third down, because why wouldn't you? I don't know if you caught it in our last show, but I did somewhat cheekily say to Andy, is this offense better without Quentin Johnston? Just because Trey Harris is a bit different. He's a bit bigger. He can contest catches. He's got maybe stronger hands. And by having QJ and Ladd and Keenan, is there a little bit of duplication having them on the field so often? I'm not going to make you answer that on the spot unless you want to. For me, it's a watch point for the remainder of this season, because Quentin started like a house on fire. On the weekend, he was a little more subdued. So I am just going to be watching how they're all used. And Trey Harris had half the snaps again this week. So I kind of want to invest in Trey Harris.
Well, that leads into my, I guess, final question maybe on the offense is that why are we so bad in the red zone? And is there an element of Greg Roman, picking up a 6-pack of different alcohol, like a sort of like a pick your own mix, and let's say you, Alistair, you've gone to a bottle shop and you've picked all your German and Belgian beers, and you've gone, oh, this is exciting, but you've happened to pick the ones that are 10 to 12%, so you have 2 and you have no idea what to do with the next 4 because you're absolutely piss farted. So there seems to be this. Yes, we have these streaky games from these wide receivers. Quentin Johnston, you said, has had a great start to the year. But maybe it's just that little bit disjointed because there are too many. And maybe that's what happens in the red zone because we just don't know what to do. We just don't know where to go, what mouth to feed, what's happening. That could also be perhaps Roman's lack of creativity in the end zone. Because, man, when you see other teams. I always watch other teams and go, geez, I wish we could do that. And I don't look at all the interceptions and all the bad stuff on other teams. I just go, oh, why can't we do that? A flea flicker in the red zone to, pass to Jared Goff and he catches it open. Why can't we do that? But yeah, the red zone offense is the worst in the league, I believe. And maybe that's symptomatic of just a little bit of confusion of who to feed in the wide receiver room.
I think it's symptomatic of a combination of that and also the injuries and personnel. Because I do think in your red zone, everything is condensed. If you can't run the ball because your offensive line isn't good at blocking and RB1 and RB2 are out, that's already making you one-dimensional. So the defense knows you're dropping back to pass, and you also can't trust your left tackle or your right tackle or your center, or
your left guard or your right guard.
Do you know what I mean?
Or your fullback, or your chipping tight end. Yeah,
you've got to be the most clean and efficient and mechanical in the red zone because you've just got less area to operate. The defense is playing man. It's finer margins, and they've picked up a few go-tos. They'll do the fast to the flat play action where you hope to quickly hit your running back in the flat. Or unfortunately, a lot of them are just these scramble plays where you're hoping Ladd and Keenan eventually uncover because Herbert has stiff-armed a 300-pound defensive tackle somehow and still got the throw off. It's not good, man, but the second half was a little bit better. All right, I've got one more question to you before we move on to our awards. I want you to talk to us a bit about what you think about Hortiz's operation of this team, because where I'm going to go is the Daniel Popper pickup. This week, his real focus area was the team cut Caleb Murphy, who played the third most special team snaps, and they put Tooley on special teams for the first time in the year. And lo and behold, on Amir Abdullah's 81-yard return, Tooley is in the area where a tackle gets missed and he goes through. Is that bad GMing?
Gosh, because on the other hand, you've signed Owe, a first-round talent. You've gotten him relatively cheaply. You've shored up a positional group in edge that was kind of short anyway. And lo and behold, Owe's only been there for a while, and I think he's looked okay. Yeah, he hasn't necessarily generated sacks, but he never was that kind of player. He gives us something we don't have. However, I will say that then putting Tooley, who's had the third or fourth most defensive snaps out of any defensive player, putting him on special teams. And even though Justin Eboigbe had a couple of big hits last week, do I really want a 5th-round defensive tackle on my special teams? Ryan Fickenfuckenfiken must be going, what's going on here? Ryan Ficken must be sucking in that vape as well, because he's had a bit of a revolving door and he hasn't done much with the new kickoff. I think he's really struggling to scheme, and maybe the special teams room was built around the old rules.
Yeah.
At a wider level, Hortiz's team building, I can't fault it just yet. I think we're making all the right moves. It's just unfortunately the moment after those moves, disaster strikes. You can't plan for that as a GM. You can't plan for torn Achilles or a torn patella, or your top tackle going down. You just can't. So, what say you? Do you think you can?
Yeah. Well, broadly, I've liked most of his moves. Really, or like if I think of managing the cap, who's come in, who's we've sent out, trades, who we've drafted. I've liked 85% of the moves. The ones we keep coming back to is choosing not to prioritize the interior of the offensive line in that excellent draft where Tanner Bordellini, the Colts center, could be your center right now. I know it's easy to pick individual players. I actually didn't love Bordellini's Wisconsin tape, so hand up, I didn't grade him that highly. I got it wrong. Al was wrong. But it still reflects a decision. In that draft, you went Junior Colson in the 3rd, and Justin Eboigbe in the 4th, in what was viewed as the best center class ever and a really strong guard class. The Colts went Bordellini and Goncalves, and they've got 2 starters out of it who killed us this week. So that's one thing. But look, the guys who are getting hurt on this team really matter. I know, other teams have significant injuries too, and we've kept our quarterback and our wide receivers. But no one's talking about Deshaun Hand, who's been our best run defender this year. He's out. Mac, best edge-setting run defender, He's out. Just as we decide to trade away Gilman because our safety room is deep. Oh, yeah, Molden, Thumb. He's out. All of a sudden, you've got RJ Miggins in, who you drafted.
Who actually played okay. Yeah.
But, yeah, look, that specific decision, I think what they've been doing this year is saying Ryan Ficken has been so exemplary his first couple of seasons as a special teams coordinator. He'll work it out. He'll figure it out. And this year, unfortunately, he just hasn't. It just hasn't worked.
And I mean, will we be sitting here in a year's time when the aforementioned receiving group with 2 top-end draft picks with a second or third round center, with Slater back, with Alt back, with Becton there, Zion Johnson might leave, you might pick up another guard, all of a sudden you're going, holy moly, this is one of the best offenses in football. Wishful thinking, I know, and it's a shame that we're already thinking about next year, but you're right. I think maybe me a couple of years ago might have been very critical of this and the injuries and to be really frustrated and emotional. But I now know, because a couple of my other professional sport teams, one of them being my AFL team, had one of the worst injury-riddled seasons of all time. It's not an excuse, but you then start to go looking at a team and you're going, I've watched this, I follow my team pretty closely. I don't even know who that is. Who is that guy? Oh, yeah, we picked him up last week. He was flipping burgers. Oh, great. He was playing in the country. Cool. And eventually, like, imagine if someone came into your work, Al. Might be a bit of a sore spot here at the moment, but, you go and work with someone and, you make a really good connection on day one and you go, oh, this is great. I'm looking forward. Then the next day it's someone new. You go, oh, okay, all right, let's work. You spend that emotional energy the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. You're actually going, what am I doing here? Like, what is going on?
And where's the trust? Do I know if we're working on something together that you're...
Exactly.
Can I entrust something to you to do? It's all of that sort of stuff. I totally agree. But
yeah. Anyway,
we will try. We'll try to find some positive energy as we kind of move towards the Vikings. But before we do, let's have a couple of awards, Jack. I'll take the snakes and ladders this week. We haven't mentioned him at all in this 40-minute discussion, and I think that is fitting. Down the snake for me this week is Dayon Henley. The dude's invisible at the minute. Like, if you squint and you'll miss him out there. Blink and you'll miss him. Why I will say he's down the snake is because I just looked at where he's ranking across all linebackers in the league who've played at least 250 snaps, right? 59 linebackers have played 250 snaps, 59 of them. He's had 29 tackles, which is 35th out of 59. He's had 10 run stops, which is 47th out of 59. His overall PFF grade, 54.8, places him 44th of 59, right? This is a talkative player. Harbaugh says that actions should speak so loudly that we can't hear your words. He is down the snake at this stage. Now, apparently his illness after that Raiders game was so severe that he landed in hospital and he did lose quite a lot of weight from that incident. So I do want to just say that as a qualification. That has derailed his season, but there's still time left, Henley. The team really needs you right now that Perryman's back. He's the guy I'm challenging to step up. Up the ladder, you mentioned him. I'm going to say Keenan Allen. The reason why I'm going to say Keenan, who's just come off, a 14 target, 11 catch, 119 yard performance, is he's played so well so far this year that not only is he climbing that ladder, but he might climb up to get the bag. It might get to the end of this season and Ortiz goes, one more song. Why not go around again? Look, if we're going to get all these plays you've mentioned back, Jack, does it really hurt to have Keenan on another 1 year deal for $7 million, $8 million? At the rate he's going, he's more than earning it. So up the ladder for KA13, my friend.
There you go. All right. I'm going to give a little history lesson in warfare here. This is brought to you by the Wagenburg. Through 7 weeks, they are reportedly, the Colts, the most efficient offense by points per drive this century. They are ahead of the 07 Pats, the 18 Chiefs, and the 20 Packers. Think of them as Jan Žižka's Hussites rolling out the Wagenburg every drive. Their offensive line was the chained wagons, moving in step, sealing edges, and creating clean firing lanes. While Shane Steichen played the check master, fitting each cart with Hufnitsche and Tarasnitsche, big and small guns. Taylor as the heavy piece, Warren as the nimble gun crews on screen and boots, Pierce as the Sally party over the top, build the fort, then shoot. 3 scripted touchdowns, outside zone, teach tape, throwback screen, convoy. Once the wall was up, our defenders looked like armored knights forced to pause and eat fire. What the Wagenburg is, Alistair, is when you circle the wagons and you tie them together to create a mini moving fort. That's what the Wagenburg is. The Chargers, by contrast, were the Crusaders at Varna who fought against the Hussites. They fought them in the open field with no fort, and they had no time. The Chargers Wagenburg never formed. The offensive line was porous, protection broke in the seams, and Herbert was left like a standalone captain in no man's land, while Buckner and co. crashed through the Landsknecht pike at Wesenbach. That's why the run died. That's why we got 40 points scored against us. That's why we're sitting here right now. We've mentioned it before on the podcast. Protection isn't flair. It's not the nice draft picks that, could get 1,000 yards. It's not your Roma Dunzes, your Justin Jeffersons. It's the formation that wins games. Class dismissed.
Stunning. I was listening to a history podcast about Martin Luther. So Jan Hus and the Hussites did get a reference. So I appreciated it although you took that much further than my knowledge. Very highbrow podcasts on a Wednesday evening with the Thunder Down Under. All right, almost wrapping up, listeners. Before we finish, we're going to end with a score prediction. Actually, quickly before we do, I will just say for this Vikes game coming up, Jack, it looks like Joe Alt is a real chance to play. He certainly seems committed to play. Trey Pipkins has a knee, but he is questionable. He may get up. Haskins is doubtful. He's somewhat hurt. So they signed a new running back to the practice squad. Maybe Naheem Hines actually gets a carry or 2 in this game. The status of Dye Molden is unclear. Tito's off to the IR with his elbow, so they've already suggested that maybe the old fullback, Scotty Matlock, will have to go back to defense and play defensive tackle in this game. So that's the news in a short week ahead of the game in a little less than 48 hours' time. Vikings are 3-3, Jack. Why don't we end with maybe a comment each about this game or the Vikes and a score prediction? You can start us off.
Yep, I'm going to be positive because I feel like this has been one of the more negative podcasts. Not that we have been overly negative, we've probably perhaps been real. I'm going to trust, even though it was a different offensive coordinator, Justin Herbert had one of the best games of his career, if not the best game of his career, against this Flores run defense a number of years ago. So I'm going to say Justin Herbert puts up another big game because he's going to have to, because the offensive line, well, if Joe Alt's back, I wonder if he's 50%, 60%. I just hope he doesn't hurt himself again. I'm going to say we put up 30 points, and I reckon we beat the Vikings 30-27. Bit of a barn burner, I think. That's where I'm at. I'm going to go, come on, let's go 5-3.
It's such an important game. The schedule does get tough. If the team can sneak a win here and then get the longer rest ahead of the next game, the team will be 5-3. It will be so meaningful for the course of this season. Maybe we'll start feeling a bit more positive. We should be watching this game carefully, Jack, because like you said, when Kellen Moore was OC, they knew the blitzers were coming and they had incredible quick game. I remember Flores blitzed on something incredible, like 70% of
it was the highest ever, I think. Yeah. Yep.
And it was just quick screen, all that kind of stuff. Roman, we're going to see if you can scheme it up, if that's what Flores does. He hasn't been doing it as much this year, but it's still, if I was Flores and I've been watching the tape of the Chargers defensive line, let's
send the house,
hammer,
baby. Yeah.
Let's hammer the button. But I just finished watching the highlights of Eagles and the Vikings, and I was pleasantly surprised to see a few nice deep connections with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on those Vikings corners. And I was more pleased to see Carson Wentz throwing 2 pretty disgraceful interceptions in the first half of that game. And thankfully, he's been confirmed as the starter. Come on. The Chargers and Herbert are not going to lose Thursday Night Football at home against Carson Wentz-led Vikings. I'm going to be positive like you. This is going to be a dub. It's going to be Chargers 27, Vikings 20. And we're going to write this thing in 2 days' time. Let's go.
Come on. Love it. Love it. Love it. Hopefully there's a bit of positivity to end the podcast. But thank you, as always, if you're still with us, for tuning in. Andy, we do miss you. We hope you're okay. For one, nothing serious, folks. Just a little bit of, just a, funnily enough, he did log on and was just, we both looked at it and said, I think you're done. And he gracefully, said absolutely. And he appreciated it. So Andy, we appreciate you. I've missed you because you've done a podcast with him, Alistair. I haven't yet. I miss our electric friend. But anything from you before we go?
Hopefully for the Vikings recap, we'll do that show, the three of us together. Enjoy the watch, guys. Hopefully it's a dub, and we'll see you next time on the Thunder Down Under Chargers podcast.
Backpedals looking, firing. He's got Floyd turning. Got it. 6 10, 5, high step. Touchdown!